Hey, welcome back. Come on in. It's your work mom. And
Your work unk.
hey, we're happy to see you. Ah, how Jose, what have you been up to today?
Oh, just trying to mentally decompress. Just feels like there's so much worries in the world,
Yeah.
and just taking a day to step away from the news, step away from all the noise, and just enjoying time with my family. So, how about you?
Today was just, it's a little bananas and I get it. Like just kind of sifting through all the information and all the noise that's coming at you from whatever angle, right? Whether it be TV or work or friends or family or whatever. Like sometimes I kind of have to pause and just, say to myself, like, everything's gonna be okay. Trust the process, trust the universe, right? I mean, I think that's as an adult, that's something that I have pretty much learned. Um, but actually come to think about it, like, I mean, maybe that's a good one for us to talk about today, right? Like just trusting the process. And I think that's one of those things um, that nobody tells you, like as you're growing up, that life is really just one big series of processes. And you just kind of have to trust it sometimes. Good one to talk about today?
No, that sounds like a perfect topic to talk about, and I really believe in that. And when I think about it, like trust your gut, trust the process. These are very terms that are taught around, but it's they're appropriate for a reason, right? You've been training your gut for your whole life. When there's danger, to worry about when you're not okay, and the things around you when someone else is not feeling okay, and being able to trust that your gut in that moment and going, no, you're something's not right, and you should worry. And it's making sure that you listen to it. You made it this far in life with your gut. Don't stop listening to it. And now at the most important moments of your life.
Yeah, I think that's really good, right? I mean, I think like I said, I mean, you graduate, right? Like you graduate from school, or you get a new job, right? And you work really hard to get there, right? I mean, like, for anybody that's kind of tuning in, it's like, hey, congrats, you got here, you did it, right? Whether it be your first job, whether it be graduating from school, whether it be getting, some training done, but you're here, you did it. Now what? Right? And figuring out what to do next sometimes doesn't come as fast as you want it to. And I think one of the things that we have to remember is that, you know, there's a process for everything. Sometimes we understand what the process is, right? It's really prescriptive, and sometimes we just don't, right? I mean, we hear different things like trust the universe or trust, out of my hands or whatever. And all of that is just different ways of saying the same thing. That it's just like, you know what?
Yeah.
Everything is going to be okay. Things happen the way that they're supposed to happen. You have to do your part, right? In terms of kind of, you know, figuring out what's next and kind of, doing, whatever it is that you need to do, whether it be, trying to find a new job and filling out applications or trying to get a promotion and glowing up, right? I mean, there are certain things that are in the process that are part of that. But I think what's really important to remember is that it's a process and it doesn't happen overnight sometimes, even though we want it to. So,
Yeah, I constantly have to remind myself of that. And when I think about it, and the one thing I try to tell my younger team members about, and my younger family members is, don't compare yourself to the next person.
yeah.
You have no idea what that next person is going through, how they got there, the hurdles they had to climb over. You're already an amazing individual. You've made it this far. This is amazing. You have some great life experiences and certain things that happen to you, and only you, and that's okay. So your path is not prescribed, and you need to make sure that your windy road leads to the place where you want it to lead to.
Yeah, I think that's a really great thing to remember, right? I mean, when we when we're all in school, everybody follows a very similar route, right? First grade, second grade, third grade, whatever, right? And then you get to your senior year and everybody graduates. And sometimes people go to college, sometimes people join military, sometimes people take a gap year, sometimes people just don't know, right? But really at the end of the day, everybody's timeline, once you get to that point, changes, right? So to your point, it looks different for everyone. And trying to compare yourself or your timeline with someone else will just drive you bananas, to be honest. And so I think, you know, the other thing that I like to remember is that when I'm feeling really like down or frustrated about something, sometimes, there's a tendency to think it's like, oh, that I just failed at that, or I'm not doing really great. But to be honest, I like to look at failures really more like challenges or setbacks, and the thing that I tell like clients or teammates or younger people on my team, it's just like, hey, you know what? Failure is actually an opportunity for growth. Setbacks are an opportunity to really kind of reassess, and challenges are opportunities to figure out how strong you are in overcoming something. And so there's always a different way of looking at that. And it's all part of the process, right? The process. So,
I love that, and I think setbacks are just a normal part of life. I try not to let them feel like they're the end of the world. I wouldn't take my failures back for anything. I wouldn't be the person I am without my failures falling on my face and actually, feeling like, wow, okay, this is a moment to learn. Let's sit back and reflect. Let's take note of what happened, how we got here, and how we're going to move forward from here. Celebrate successes though. Make sure that even the small ones you celebrate it. You have to make sure that along the process you're enjoying the ride. And you made it through this day, you make it through tomorrow, and you completed a project, or you were able to go to a social event and meet new people. And these are small successes that you should be celebrating and enjoying.
yeah, for sure. For sure. I mean, I think that's, it's also part of the journey, right? It's also part of the process. It's one, trying to figuring out kind of what's the next, and then two, how to get there. And then three, really also understanding that, what, there are things that are going to be a challenge or a setback. But once you overcome, or once you kind of figure that out, and, again, this goes back to something that we've said in a different video. It's like, what, sometimes you need extra help. Sometimes you don't have all the answers, but that's all part of the process, right? Ask the questions. That's all part of the process. And then once you recognize that you've overcome that, whether it be a small challenge or a big setback or whatever, to your point, celebrate the small wins, celebrate the big ones, because you know what? It's part of adulting. It's part of being a grown person. It doesn't stop. It happens for as long as you're here, right? For as long as you're here, you're always in some kind of learning mode. So that's, I think that's some of the things that we have to kind of remember, and it happens for everybody.
You got to take it in steps and understand that this windy road is not the same for everyone, as I said earlier. But if you're starting to question and think about, am I doing the right thing? Am I following the right process? Ask questions of other people that you trust. Validate your thought process. Make sure that, hey, this next step, that this journey that I'm about to embark on, does this seem right? Am I taking the right steps? And it's perfectly okay. They're going to give you their point of view and their feedback, and you'll be able to apply it or not apply it and go, you know what? I'm a little bit different. My journey has been a little bit different, and it's okay to do that. So with that being said, let's take a minute. Let's take a second. Let's recap what we've heard over the next couple of minutes. So you made it this far in life. This is just another step. Congratulations. You are amazing. Keep remembering that. Learn that you need to structure your life and create processes. This is just your process, though. This is not going to be the same process as someone else's. And failures and setbacks are part of those processes, and it's how you're going to learn and how you're going to grow. Make sure that you ask questions of others, other people that you trust. Okay. And make sure that you have to trust these people, because you're going to be very vulnerable and you're going to ask these questions. And try not to compare yourself to anyone else. You're amazing already, and you have your own bright light to shine. So don't forget that.
Yeah. I love everything that you said. And, just to kind of wrap us up, yeah, life And adulting in life is a never ending journey, right? I mean, we've talked a lot about that. It's a never ending journey. And it really is just a series of processes, right? Work is a series of processes. Relationships, there's a process there, like service to your community, and service to your family. Like those are all different things. And the timeline is different for everyone, right? So, the next thing I would say is that, to that end, the journey is different, right? And it's beautiful regardless of the setbacks, regardless of the process. It's yours. It's uniquely yours, and even success is defined differently, and that's okay, right? Because the journey is yours, the successes are yours, and it looks different than somebody else's success. Everything is okay. And then I think the other thing that I would say is that, you know what, anything that you think is a challenge or a setback, all that is a door to growth. It just brings you to the next, it just levels you up to the next experience. So embrace it, all of it. It's yours. So all of that being said, the door is always open. We're always here. Work mom, work unc. We love you. Now, more importantly, go live your life. And we'll see you on the next one.